Welcome along everyone to the Atlantis Eire YouTube channel. This is our brand new channel for the Atlantis Eire Holistic Health and Celtic Spirit magazine. We welcome Mr. Declan Quigley with us tonight. We're talking to Declan about him as a shamanic healer and also a writer for the Atlantis Eire Holistic Health magazine. Welcome along, Declan.
Thank you very much, Alden.
Declan, you're a shamanic healer?
I am. I've been involved in this business now for several years and loving it.
Loving it.
Having a great time doing it.
Just to let everyone know, Declan's with us here in Castlebar. He spends a couple of days here every couple of weeks doing shamanic healings, and he does Reiki, drum and circles, shamanic workshops, and he's with us all the way from Newry tonight in County Down. Originally from Derry City, by the way.
Absolutely. I'm glad you got that bit in there.
I got that bit in there. I had to say that anyway. You're welcome along, Declan. We're going to have a chat with you, and thankfully our YouTube channel is up and running now, and we can tell people about various different therapies, various different practitioners that do various different things. Both on the magazine, as a writer for the magazine, you write some fantastic articles, by the way, right from the beginning, from issue 1, and we're currently on issue 7. And also, Declan, we'll talk a little bit as well about how you started off in shamanic healing, how you trained as a shamanic healer, and we'll talk a little bit about workshops you run and healings you do, and lots of different things. As a shamanic practitioner, tell us how you began.
I would imagine I'm pretty unusual in this arena of the holistic scene, or whatever you want to call it, because I started off quite cynical about all this sort of stuff. I was in mainstream healthcare for 30 odd years, and all sorts of client groups, you know. So very traditional working background, and attitude, and I have to be honest. I have to say that my attitude to anybody doing Reiki, doing readings, or shamanic healing even, you know, I was suspicious. I was definitely suspicious of it, you know. There was always an interest there. There was always a draw there. But I suppose that's something I didn't really want to recognise it for the best part of my life, you know. Yeah. For me, it kicked off really, again, as I say, I had that interest, so I had a curiosity. Yeah. So I went along to a shamanic group, you know. Again, I have to say, quite cynical about it.
That was in Northern Ireland?
Yeah, that was in Newry. Yeah. And I went along, and there was this wonderful individual called Kieran Corr, you know. He was a shamanic practitioner and still is, and holistic healer and an acupuncturist. Wonderful individual. But I went along, and I wasn't quite sure about this, and I wasn't quite sure about the whole setup and whatever, because I didn't know. I really I was uneducated in the whole field of holistic work and spirit and connecting with spirit and all that. Very traditional attitude, very closed-minded, you know, I have to say. But in going along there and experiencing that and being taught how to do the shamanic journey, which is connecting with spirit in a very specific and a very specific way with great intention about what you want to do and what you want to achieve. So that, you know, I went along and experienced that. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, it completely opened up my vision. Sure. To spirit, to healing practice, and to the connection, the very personal connection with spirit or God or whatever you want to call it. Sure. But it's that connection, because the shamanic journeys I was doing, and what I was getting from them was so vivid and so detailed, with such a lot of significance. Sure. For me personally, you know, in my life. And for my past, you know, life up to that point, sure. You know.
So it resonated?
Hugely.
Yeah.
Hugely resonated.
Obviously, you would have been you took to journeying very quickly. your natural journey, or if that is a word.
Immediately almost, and it was so vivid, and it's such an amount of meaning to it. And again, as I say, I was working in mainstream healthcare, and this was a very alien world.
This is another holistic. This is the opposite, almost the to the conventional.
All that very, very unusual.
So you went along and loved it so much and took to it so well, you decided that this may be your path.
Yeah. Well, I was deeply unhappy in the job I was doing. I was in child protection, and it was very stressful, and that stress was impacting on me.
Your background would have been study would have been psychology.
Psychology. That's what my primary degree's in, and following that, did the postgrad in social work. So it was I covered a lot of angles of it. I've been working on mental health for perhaps 30 years, one capacity or another.
Sure.
And then finally in child protection. So it was a very structured world and a very
this was
mainstream.
Quite different. Would be an understatement, really.
Oh yeah.
To go from the
polar opposites.
Polar opposites. To go from the very structured, steady 9-to-5 system.
Pension.
But
again, I was very unhappy in that. I was unhappy because I was so stressed out. Couldn't handle the workload. Couldn't handle the system, the whole thing, and it just wasn't working for me.
Sure.
So I saw there was a need there. I had to have a change. Shamanism came along, and it was so personally affecting to me that it changed my worldview completely. Because again, I had been coming from a place where I had been so cynical about this holistic work, and then wallop, my view just exploded. In terms of that,
you do some amazing workshops here in Castlebar and County Mayo, and thankfully I've been to a lot of the workshops. Soul retrieval, past life regression, past life healing, ancestral family tree healing, and so on. Yeah. And personally, I would say it had an impact on my life and my view of life in general. Thanks to yourself.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's a huge.
Because
huge
no more than myself, I met a very strong connection into the Shamanic Way, and seeing the impact it had, and a different outlook on life, and different, in general, just very different. And it's there for anyone.
Absolutely. And that, that's one of the points there for me. That's one of the big. If you want to say that I've got a purpose in life or something like that, whatever. My purpose would be to show to people my experience and the fact that, look, anyone can do this. There's a lot of people would say, there's psychics and people are psychic, and then there's people who aren't psychic, but that's not the case. Everyone has that ability to connect into spirit. To tap into their own psychic senses, or whatever you want to call it, their connection with spirit. So if I have a job to do at all, as I see it, it's to open that up for people.
Yeah. The degree in psychology and child protection and stuff like that, and particularly the psychology study, is a very interesting mix between that and the Shamanic Way. And you do tie the two together to a certain degree with your experiences in the past. Tell me a bit about your business name, Anam Nasca.
Anam Nasca, a lot of people think I've changed my name. I haven't changed my name. Anam Nasca in the Gaelic means soul connection or soul link. Okay. And that name was chosen because, firstly, I'm a Celtic or Irish Shamanic practitioner, and there had to be some reference to the Irish language, and I think that was important for the energy of it.
Sure.
The other aspect to that too is that pretty much sums up what I do. A shamanic practitioner in any culture, and shamanism is in all cultures, more or less nearly all cultures throughout the world, and always has been. Is someone who connects with spirit and that is the job description, if you want.
Yeah.
You know, now they connect with spirit for various reasons, for healing, for information, and the old cultures, like our own culture, going back many millennia, they would have found hunting grounds. They would have found areas where that was favourable to live in. They'd found water sources, all that type of thing, and helped out the tribe. So the shaman, as they were known, or they weren't known as a shaman here in Ireland.
Yeah.
Shaman is a Siberian term, from the Tungus tribe.
Okay.
But I suppose the wise people in the community would always be referred to for these tasks and duties, and their role within the tribe was to heal, to gain food sources and a load of other things, a gamut of different roles. So basically, at the bottom of that, they're only fulfilling one task, and that's connecting with spirit. They got their spirit guides, and they're channeling the energy of their spirit guides into the job that they're doing, whatever that may be. And that whole idea gave me great difficulty in the beginning, because you have to be very careful there, because that can be all very, very ego driven and can be very it's dodgy ground to go into, unless you have that real connection.
I would strike, knowing you for a good many years now, I would strike you as a very grounded individual. I've often seen cases where there's been 3 or 4 shamanic practitioners in the same room for holistic events and so on. Each one, I can say certainly, are uniquely different.
Absolutely.
Uniquely different. And yours certainly are uniquely different. And the Celtic energy is quite a special energy. Come from the Celtic energy. So. You write articles in the magazine, Atlantis Eire magazine, and you continue to write, of course. Issue 7 will be due out on the 1st of April. We're currently in issue 6. And what have you planned for issue 7, article-wise?
Well, the big one for me, and it's a pet love of mine, is the old Celtic tradition, oral tales that have come down, mythology, all that type of thing. And one of the greatest things for me is an old text called the Táin Bó
Okay.
Or the Táin, as some people would call it. But that's the story of Cuchulainn, and I'm sorry about this, Aldo, I know you're in Connacht, but it's the Ulster men against the Connacht men, and Queen Maeve and all that. And it's full of drama.
Fantastic.
Full of, it's got more intrigue, more sexiness than any soap opera.
You would have a real keen interest in,
I love it.
In all the old Irish, Two of the Dan and so on.
Oh,
you
very
have a
much
very keen interest in that. The gods and goddesses and so on. Yeah.
Because I see that, and I think most Celtic or Irish shamanic practitioners will see a direct lineage from the Tuatha De Danann, and they were practicing the same practices as we are today, in a different way, slightly.
In a different way. Absolutely, and it's fantastic to say that you can write such articles, and I don't know what the word be, educate or re-educate or make people aware in Ireland and further afield, because a lot of our readers would be across the globe as well through our website, where they can read download the digital edition of the magazine and have a read of it. So you can be in any corner of the world to read it. But it's fascinating stuff. And I mean, we're really tipping, into issue 6, and it's a grain of sand. On the beach, really.
There's so much. I mean, first of all, it's a massive privilege to be able to do that. It's for me personally, that's a wonderful thing. Because my fervent belief, my absolute belief, is that our culture that we have in Ireland is hugely ignored, and the beauty and the value of that. Our texts, like the Táin Bó is very much on the level of the Iliad in Greece, you know, and all the great mythological texts throughout the world.
Yeah.
But I think we as Irish people don't recognise that as much as we should.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's I have a pet love for that type of thing.
Absolutely.
So it's wonderful for me.
You were currently last night, in fact Thursday night, you have done level 2 of a fascinating workshop called the Shamanic Way of the Snake.
Yeah.
Level 3 will be in a couple of weeks' time. I think it's you know, a lot of people are fascinated with the name, the Shamanic Way of the Snake. You know, it's very, it may sound frightening, it may sound very reptile-like, if you like.
Yeah, well, it's very reptile-like.
Yes, of course. But a fascinating story behind the name and the basis of this particular workshop. And just to let people know, every constantly we run workshops here in the Atlantis Holistic Therapy Centre here in Castlebar, County Mayo. And tell us a little bit about the Shamanic Way of the Snake, what it's about.
Right. Well, first of all, there is a huge connection between shamanic practitioners and their spirit animals. And spirit animals come in for a variety of reasons. To teach us lessons, to give us energy, and we refer to them for ways to live our life, even, you know, our approach to life, our worldview.
So every animal would have
a
meaning and a connection.
Yeah, some significance and whatever, you know. So, I mean, that's a huge aspect of shamanism anyway. But the name of this workshop in particular, this workshop is about taking people through a transformational process. First of all, we look at the difficulties that they've had in life so far, the stumbling blocks, the obstacles, the traumas that they've come across in their life, you know, that have deeply impacted them as people, perhaps lowered their confidence, perhaps give them the attitude that they can't do this, that, or the other.
Sure.
So we're taking that, we're looking at that, we're developing a mask, an actual physical mask, where they put all their traumas on, you know, a physical representation of what's inside, basically. And then they destroy that, which is a symbolic ritual to acknowledge the fact that that period of their life, that damage, that trauma, is over.
It's over.
You know, and we're done with that. Okay, and then we do another mask for what hopes and what they want to bring into their life
In the future.
and what the person that they want to be. You know, I used masks because we wear masks in life. You know, we hide behind things. We hide behind our trauma. We hide behind false interpretations of ourselves.
Yeah.
So basically, this workshop is called Shamanic Way of the Snake, Masks of Transformation. The snake is very relevant to this in the fact that a snake sheds its skin and can change.
Yeah.
Whereas a general attitude amongst people in these communities is that change is very, very difficult. It's impossible sometimes, you know.
Sure.
But it's never impossible. And
Never
that's the kind of the
impossible.
point of it. You know.
So it's a fascinating workshop. Lots of huge positive things behind
Absolutely.
that, and a number of workshops coming up every couple of months here in Atlantis. Facebook, Anam Nasca on Facebook. Okay. You wrote a fantastic article in this issue, which is issue 6, about spirit guides.
Absolutely.
Tell us a bit about it.
Well, again, the shamanic practitioner, the value of the shamanic practitioner is the ability to connect with the spirit guides and guiding influences, guiding energies. So that's done in a very, very specific way, and that specific way is called the Shamanic Journey. To carry out the Shamanic Journey, you are sending your essence out to a very structured world, basically, or structured landscape. And that landscape is, in most cultures throughout the world, that landscape is separated into 3 sections: the upper world, the middle world, and the lower world. In Ireland, actually, in many quarters, it was seen as the sky, the sea, and the earth. You know, so but generally it's structured into 3 levels. And you journey to various levels, to different levels for different purposes.
Sure.
For instance, you would journey to the lower world because it's very earth-based. Your spirit animals are there, some of your spirit guides are there. You're connecting with the energies of the land, the tree, the plants. For the upper world, you're connecting with higher level spiritual energy, like the angels, like ascended masters,
Sure.
and all that high level spiritual work. So that's basically what that article is all about, is how to access those spirit guides,
Sure.
how to do the shamanic journey, what you're going to find there, how it's structured. And that's one of the pertinent points about the shamanic journey, is the fact that it is so structured.
Sure, absolutely.
You know,
Discovering the worlds of your spirit guides. Declan has written, I think it's about 14 articles now, actually, since the magazine began back on the 1st of April last year, 2015. And some more great articles coming up through Declan as well. So he's on Facebook, Anam Nasca. Send him a friend request, and you get lots of interesting stuff from the Facebook page, promoting workshops, shamanism in general, and also the other Facebook, which is called...
Well, I do online readings as well. I mean, readings is one of the aspects that I've developed since discovering this spiritual connection.
Sure.
But I'm also doing a spiritual Clearance Ireland
as well,
Facebook page, in which we look at the energies of places and spaces, what's impacting on various houses, various homes, land, farms, whatever, all these sorts of things.
Huge need for it.
Absolutely huge need for it, because there's a lot of energies going on there that are unrecognised. Geopathic stress, for instance,
and stuff. Things in the past, history of famines, great hungers, and everything else that has left energies steeped in the ground still, that need to be rooted and cleared.
Again, one of the unique factors of the shamanic practitioner is that person works with energy, and negative energy does stick to a place. I mean, we've all walked into somewhere and felt intensely uncomfortable, and in that place. We've all sat beside a lovely river and felt the beauty of that, and felt the uplifting nature of that. So a shamanic practitioner would generally, and that's the theme of this particular page, the shamanic practitioner would go into these places and spaces and clear the negative energy away. But that negative energy also includes any entities that may be found there, any spiritual presences of what a lot of people call ghosts. Now, ghost is a very flippant term, and we've got to be careful of that, because Hollywood has made such a massive mockery of those energies and misinterpretation of it. But they are very real energies, and if those energies are there, they can be cleared, in a very respectful nature. And then those entities or those spirits are passed on to the hands of their spirit guide. And their process then through the spirit world.
It's been great talking to you.
It's lovely talking to you, Aldo.
We've been developing videos and stuff. The YouTube channel is open for lots of different interviews and different aspects of holistic and spiritual angles and points of view, and we talk a lot about the magazine and issues and so on, different articles in the magazine. Just to show you, this is issue 6. Nice purple cover, nice image, chakra image there as well, and Celtic Spiral and so on. It's available in lots of stores around the country. It's in 834 stores to be exact. All the Easton stores stock it, and lots of stores around the country. You can download it, the digital edition, www.atlantiseire.ie, and you can also subscribe to a postal subscription delivered right in your letterbox, which is a great service, isn't it, Declan?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right in the letterbox for
no pain.
No pain, absolutely. We are on Amazon as well. Only last week we went on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. Website again, www.atlantiseire.ie. Issue 7 due out on the 1st of April. And I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to say, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. Alden, a pleasure talking to you always.
Thank you very much. We'll be doing lots of these little broadcasts, different elements of holistic and spiritual. And we'll be back chatting to you again in a couple of weeks' time, Declan, talking about various different aspects. And we might talk a little bit about Reiki, or a Reiki practitioner as well. And we'll be back chatting again very, very soon.
Terrific.
Thanks for tuning in. Thank you.